Let me get to your channel, yo.
Peace and love, family. Welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Ma'at. I have with me today my brother Ankh is in the building. Peace to you, brother Ankh.
Hey, what's good, sis? How you doing, Doc?
Hey,
Peace to you.
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. I just I think I shared with the people before that you and I always have these, you know, I don't want to say drag out, knockout discussions, but we go back and forth. We have some powerful discussions behind closed doors. And you and I were recently, a matter of fact, I think this was like last Saturday, we were talking about um, black folks and how we respond, to white folks. And you and I have been saying, and we've been saying this for a while, that there is a fear, conscious and subconscious. There is a fear of white people. And so you have some black folks, some black people are bold enough to admit it that there's a fear. And then, some black folks don't want to admit that there is a fear. Now, brother Onk, I remember years ago, I put out a video called or a video and I asked the question. I said, do black people fear white people? Right. And I say black and white. Do black people fear white people? And I started, going, I gave my opinion on it. And I said, yeah, I'm looking at these videos going viral. People are just standing there recording, they're not helping, people are just kind of frozen. They get shook around white folks. I started noticing a lot of credit being given to white folks. And you and I talked about that regarding science. Everything great was created by white people. And it seems like it's this fear, right? It seems like it's this fear to compete with white folks in the areas of STEM. Because STEM is a white male dominated field. A lot of us don't go into STEM. And I think that it's a fear there, a fear of competing with these white boys and these Asian cats. I think that. I think there's a fear when it comes to retribution. You got white folks who can come into the hood. And I know that you've probably seen this, brother Ankh. The Mormons, they could ride through Park Heights. They could ride through East Baltimore and nobody would mess with the Moors. No, not the Moors. I'm sorry, Mormons. I'm sorry, family. The Mormons. The Mormons would ride through. I won't say the Moors. The Mormons would come through. I remember they would ride through, West Baltimore, East Baltimore. They'd go through the hoods. We used to mess with those white boys when I was coming up. But let it be a sister or a brother they don't know. You end up getting jacked, you robbed, murdered, beat up. It's something. So then you say, well, daggone, the two white dudes who were riding a bicycle through the neighborhood, you didn't bother them. But when, the black, the brother or the sister rolled through the neighborhood on their bike, you're kicking them off the bike, you're beating them up. And some people may say, well, Doc, that's self-hate. But I also think it's self-hate, yes, but it's also a fear. They fear what's going to happen with the white folks. They fear that, oh, man, if I mess with these white boys, man, I might get more time. I might get this. I might get that. There's a fear. All right. And so anyway, I want to say peace to Sister Goddess, segment 19. Peace to my brother, Justin Maurice is in the building. Peace to my brother, Gulla's in the building. So, brother, what's your take on that, brother, about the fear of white people? Do you think that we have a fear, first and foremost?
Oh, absolutely. We make them more than what they ever was. That's fear right there. You done gave them, you done made them glorified, omnipotent, omnipresent force in the cosmos. And the way we misinterpret our story, it amplifies it even more. So these pseudos, they misconstruct African authentic history. They don't give you the authentic history. Like they say stuff like the hidden history. The history ain't never been hidden. It's simply in a secret vault called the library, right? Or the university libraries. It's just higher level where you can actually go get that. It's not. So when you hear the buzzword hidden history, they're lying. It's not history. Okay? So watch this. I'm gonna come to the general history of Africa. Book 1, Methodology in African Prehistory. Let me show you why all that over glorifying white people, what they do and all that is a bit much. It absolutely makes no sense. It says the preceding chapters amplify, illustrate the leading role Africa played at the early stages in the story of mankind. It's telling you right here that the beginning of mankind, the leading role that Africa played. So you're the foundation. You're the blueprint. You're the glue. Okay, and what you gotta put that into perspective, Doc. It says, although they now stand on the periphery of the technological developed world, Africa and Asia were in the forefront of progress for the first 1.5 million years
Oh no, wait a
of
minute.
world
Say that
history.
again. Say that again, brother. How many? What was that again? You said million what?
Million for the first 1.5 million years.
Mm.
So watch this of world history. So first of all, they got a lot of catching up to do. They would have to lead the world for 1.5 million years to even come close to where you was at. So once you see that already, you just say, okay, let me stop. They ain't even that's like you smacking your little 3-year-old around all day long and getting mad and just, wait a minute, it's a 3-year-old. They're not there. They're not there. You're 3. I've seen some parents allow the 3-year-old to command authority in the household. Where they run everything. Like, you don't let your child run everything. Okay? So humanity, being human, is an African thing. Okay? We need proper perspective. So let me finish this. It says, from the time of Australopithecus and Pithecanthropus, as we now know, Africa was the main setting both for man's emergence as a sovereign species of the planet and for the development of political society. Watch this. It goes on to say, this is what we stuck at. We stuck right here. But the preeminent role it played in prehistoric times was followed during the historical period of the past 2,000 years by a pattern of development marked by exploitation, which reduced the entire continent to a mere tool in the hands of others. So
That's what
is a
happened.
powerful statement.
No, that was powerful. I mean, and you just described what happened to you, because I know some people would say, "Oh, brother Ankh and Doc, you all are talking about where Africa was, but what happened? Why aren't we where we were? And we're bragging about, we got a 1,000,000-year head start, but where are we?" And like you said, due to colonization and enslavement and exploitation, continued exploitation of Mother Africa, it has reduced it to what it is today, or what we see today. So you say all that, brother Ankh, to say how does this tie in with the fear of white people? Oh, you're muted. I don't know what just happened. Unmute yourself, brother Ankh. I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
So me and you are actually doing the exact opposite. We're not glorifying what we did, right? We're simply saying that what is it that we need to do?
That's right.
Our daily lives represent that, right? We're not stuck in the past.
Come on.
See, the past can become a weight. And this way I lose a lot of people. I'm saying, dude, I'm not going to let what I did in the past weigh me down and drown me. So our history actually drowns us because they don't put it in proper context. We was the greatest. We was that, the melanin. We was, whoa. It's like, what have you done lately? And people get mad when I say that. So we don't do that, Doc. So what we do is we misinterpret history, right? Unbeknown to ourselves, and we make white people do things they can't even do. Case in point, they have genetically put together a virus, to kill the world's population. White people didn't do that. They don't even have that level of virology available to them. They found the virus in nature that matches up at least 90%. So they see the little tweaks at different levels that nature has made it. So what they're saying is there is no way it would take a mad, super duper, ultra virologist with the greatest knowledge known to mankind that we don't even know yet to be able to duplicate exactly what nature did without even seeing it. Let me slow it down. How we know that this particular virus was not made in a lab, because we've actually found viruses in nature that has these same type of genetic mutations at different autosomal levels on the virus, right? Since we hadn't found this before, anybody that would have to make something like that, right, would have to be the greatest mind known to Homo sapiens sapien to be able to duplicate nature without even seeing it, because they just found it. So we give them credit on being able to do this, unbeknowingly giving them the greatest power known to mankind. That's my point. You have just made them this.
They made them God. Let's talk about that. Black folks have really made them God. And think about it. And you know what I blame? You know what I blame? I blame religion, brother Ankh. In the minds, I think subconsciously, in the minds of black people have made them God. They are God in the minds of black people. And I feel like that religion has done a phenomenal job placing that idea, making them superior and inculcating us with an inferiority complex. A lot of people will say that it's education. I think it's education, but I also think that it's the media and it's also religion. But a lot of people don't want to talk about the ways in which religion has made us a very obsequious people, a very docile people, and people who operate in fear. What are your thoughts on that, brother Ankh?
Could you define obsequious people? That's a lovely word.
No, obsequious, like it's to like service, servile. Yeah, like a servant, like servile. So obsequious.
Hey, that was slick.
You know what? I'm not doing this with you today.
That was dope. I just learned a new word. No, I just learned a new word. That's dope. No, I promise you that. So, okay, let's show the screen. This is how we made them God. Watch this. Let me share the screen and show y'all what it is. Glad you brought that up. Watch this real quick.
And peace the brother means. Brother means said, dag, they made the white man God. She said, I took it right out of his mouth. Yeah, here we go. Religion.
So you got this. So let's see exactly what religion is, because this is what we're really talking about. This is how we've made them that. So religion is a social, cultural system. Okay? So once you've accepted foreign religions, you've accepted their social, cultural system. So unbeknown to yourself, right? You've changed over, right? Watch this. Designated behaviors. So your behaviors start to change. And practices, your morals, beliefs, worldviews. This is essential. Worldviews. Once you accept another man's religion, you are accepting his worldview. Text, sanctified places, prophecies, ethics, or organizations that relates humanity to supernatural, transcendental, and spiritual elements. However, there is no scholarly consensus over what precisely constitute a religion. It says the different religions may or may not contain various elements ranging from divine, sacred things, faith, supernatural beings, or some sort of ultimacy and transcendence that will provide norms and power for the rest of life. Religious or practices may include, this is deep, rituals. So we've transferred our rituals. Sermons, we've transferred our speech, the way we motivate each other. What's this? Commemorations, right? Or venerations of deities. Here we go. See, deities. We have deified white people.
Come on.
See, white people become our religion. They become the deity in our social structures. Saints, sacrifices, festivals, feasts, trances, all this funerary, the whole nine thing. Meditation, prayer, music, dance, the whole nine things. But the point that's important, you may or may not have deities, you may or may not have gods. All these things is important. What am I saying? To speak to your point and answer the question. When you give them that much power, right? Based off of the transcontinental kidnapping trade, as they downloaded this information on teaching you how to act, there's a certain way you act when you hear the name Jesus Christ. I'm not trying to throw no shots. I'm just simply saying the tonality, just the simple fact of respect you give to it. You actually will give Jesus Christ more respect than your mother and your grandmother.
Mm.
There's a reason for this, right? Human beings, their mental capacities, the way we think, we look to our mothers and our fathers because when we're born, our mothers and fathers take care of us. And so we have replaced our mothers and fathers with an invisible cultural figure. So God is a cultural container of ideas and concepts built upon by other human beings.
And let me,
and so these are the systems we follow. Go ahead, sis.
no, I want to just add to what you said. You said replace Jesus with them. You have a lot of people who replace Jesus with their spouse. You have a lot of women who say, I don't have no man. I have Jesus. I don't need no man. I don't need a husband. All I need is Jesus. So not only replace, Jesus with our mothers and fathers and shit, but replace Jesus even with a spouse. You hear a lot of sisters in church, I don't need no man. Jesus became the man, right? Or the pastor, right? Because the pastor is supposed to be like the intermediary, right? Between, so then they go to the pastor for everything and they're like, I don't need a man. I have Jesus. And so please continue, Brother Ankh.
So watch this. You made the white man even higher than God because as I just showed you, right? Human beings make God. So the person that gives you your religion becomes a supreme. Mm. Okay, so he gave you that, right? He constructed it and formed that. So you accept that, you give him that, you don't even question him. And when you question him, other people in your family think you're crazy. I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning the people that gave me the story and said it was legitimate.
Come on, Ankh. Say it again.
That's why you're making him that.
Say it
again.
You
made him more than anything. So now I can't read the book and say, this is a quite ridiculous story. And if I say it, ho, brother, don't you blaspheme the word of God. Well, no, I'm not blaspheming the word of God because he who gave it to me said it was the word of God. Human beings wrote the story. There's no debate on that, and I refuse to debate that. Not less fire and brimstone opened up and the book fell out, doom, in full writing. That didn't happen. It's in a writing system.
Absolutely.
We know Gutenberg, the German Gutenberg, right? He makes the print. Okay, he's the first person to do that. Gutenberg. The set, the type when you type in when you put it in there. He invented the printing press. So prior to the printing press, there was no set type where you could, run it off. Okay, this is an invention by human beings. Human beings write stories, and human beings accept stories. Oh, wait, brother. No. It was inspired by God. Yes, human beings say that they were inspired by God.
They say it all the time.
No matter what you say, you're still asking me to acquiesce, okay, to a personality that enslaved and kidnapped us. That's why we're saying you have made the white man all powerful. You don't go to Africa. You can catch a bus and go to Mexico and sit down and talk with some of the older people, right, who deal with their ancient systems, and they'll tell you that they had gods. You can go to Australia. All human beings make up ideas and concepts to fit them. So when I say you have made the white man God, you've made him supreme over God because you accepted him at face value on the things that he's given you. Now, I ain't trying to knock you for religion. I'm just simply saying, right, once we really think about it, knock it off. Stop making them all pop. Like, they don't have that type of power, Doc.
They don't. And I was sitting here thinking when you were talking, there's a book, and I tell everyone to go get this book, The Portuguese in West Africa by Dr. Malin Whyte. And so in that book, I love that book. That's one of my go-tos because in this book, he or she translated the Portuguese writing. So the Portuguese wrote down all of their experiences when they went into West Africa, right? They were in Mauritania before, and then they went on down into once they got past the Bojador, once they got past Cape Bojador, they went into the west part of Africa, and they continue on down. And once they got into the Congo region, they were able to convert the Congo people, the Congolese, to their religion. And what happened in that particular book, brother? I mean, what happened when they did that? When they did that, the Congolese began to throw away, and the Portuguese called it their idols, but the Portuguese said they burned down, their statues, their idols, their temples, and they converted everyone to the Portuguese religion, which I guess was Christianity or Catholicism, I don't know, but they converted them. And when they did that, the Congolese people began to adopt their names, their language, their doctrine, as you read in the Wikipedia definition for religion. All of those things they began to adopt. So as you stated so eloquently, they adopted their social cultural system. And we see and then what happened? Once they did that, the Congolese began to give their people to the Portuguese, as captives. They would just give their people, or the people that they did capture, because I know there's a lot of debate that they give their people, but they did. The king, I think his name, he took on the name Alfonso. He began to funnel his people to the Portuguese. And that's what happened, Brother Ankh. And so I was thinking about what you said, and we don't just see that in the Congolese. We see that in other parts of other parts of Africa, where the Europeans traveled to and converted the inhabitants. And so we see that they end up adopting their social cultural system. Even till today, Brother Ankh, if you look at pictures online, you still have Africans wearing wigs. I think not in Nigeria, the judges wear blonde wigs. I mean, look like British wigs, that they're still wearing. And so we still carry those legacies on. So Brother Ankh, I guess my next question is, what about the field of STEM? Do you think that we don't go into the STEM fields because of that fear to compete? Because that's what you and I were actually talking about on Saturday. Because, I'm in the process of, I have 2 programs in 2 Baltimore City elementary and middle schools. It's a program called Conscious Ingenuity, where we're using history and STEM to build confidence, character, and capabilities. And the goal of this is to increase African-American participation in STEM. And then you also know about the academy that I just proposed to the National Science Foundation. And so we're trying to get that awarded. But again, the overall goal is to increase African-American participation in STEM. Do you think we don't go into those fields because they are white male dominated, Brother Ankh? And there's a fear to compete? Mm-hmm.
Before I answer that question, you talked about an inferiority complex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so an inferiority complex is when you take on another religion, right? You only do it because you feel like your system is inferior to that which you have now accepted. Because if you understood that your thing wasn't inferior, why would you switch? You just wouldn't do it. Okay? In that article, right, it talked about sacred places, politics, the whole 9 yards. So when we say it's the slave man's religion, what we're saying is it's the politics of another people. It's the mindset. It's the understanding. It's your worldview, the way you see the world, where you stand and how you see it. Right? Like we haven't accepted that we were one kidnapped victims. Right? We haven't accepted that we was enslaved. Black people should never call themselves slaves. That's another trick, because that's their worldview. They slaves. We slaves. No, we were enslaved. We were kidnapped victims, captured, robbed, stolen, right? And we were enslaved. We never were slaves, but yet we teach our kids from a Eurocentric standpoint of view, yeah, we slaves. No, we're not slaves. We never was that. We was cooks. We was farmers. We was mercenaries. We bad behavior at times, good behavior at times, people. We was all that, but we never was slaves. You're only a slave when you start to crumble and accept the system of racism, white supremacy in mind. Then you're a slave, because it renders you a slave. You walk around like this. So afraid. So I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. Back to STEM. When you study your history right, then you realize, that the foundation of STEM, right, falls at the hands of the Africans. On Africa proper. We can source that up. You want me to bring a source on that, Doc?
Go ahead, bring the source up.
So we first start with the key word here. Science. That's always the key word. Science. Let's start with that key word, right? Science. Everybody swear science is the white man. They white man is the death with that. Anybody, man, however they want to do it, whatever it is, right? It ain't making no sense. Okay. So as I share my screen right here, real quick.
And peace to brother Sutek is in the building, and brother Sean P in here. He's in the building. I just wanted to salute those brothers and say peace to them.
So we see it, science, right? Science. It's right here, knowledge. Oh, wait, man, I clicked on the word knowledge. Anyway, science. Okay? It's a systematic enterprise that builds and organizes knowledge in the form of testable explanations and predictions, right, about the world. The earliest roots of science can be traced where? In ancient Egypt. And they like to stay on ancient Egypt, but that's okay. But there's other places in Africa, right, that you'll find foundations of things we do to this day, like vaccines. You'll find an African foundation to the science. Vaccinations, variolations in North America comes directly from West Africa. And I can throw it up there too. But it's simply the earliest roots of science can be traced to ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, in around 3000 to 1200 BCE. The contributions to mathematics, astronomy, and medicine entered and shaped Greek natural philosophy.
Come on, let's teach. Now I'm thinking about stolen legacy. Let's go.
See? Natural philosophy of classical antiquity. Thereby, formal attempts were made to provide explanations of events in the physical world. So the science is simply trying to talk about the physical world, the natural phenomenon, right? That's all science is. Watch this. Based on natural causes. Just that simple. Now, if you want to talk about the supernatural, then go find one of your religions that you've accepted, and then it'll give you the explanation of, why God works in mysterious ways. But if you want to know about the things that are happening on planet Earth right in front of your face that affects you directly, then you would have to go to science, right? It says, after the fall of Western Roman Empire, knowledge of Greek conception of the world, okay, what's this? Oh, no, wait a minute. Deteriorated in Western Europe. During the early centuries, 400 to 1000 of the Middle Ages, but was preserved in the Muslim world. So the Muslim world was preserved as what? They had these schools called the House of Wisdom. Okay, watch this. The Muslim world during the Islamic Golden Age. When you reach the Golden Age, I mean, you reach the heights of science and mathematics. If you go to Africa, right, you got certain nations like Egypt that had 3 golden ages. Okay, it says the recovery and assimilation of Greek works and the Islamic inquiries into the Western Europe from the 10th to 13th century revived the natural philosophy. Remember, Charles Darwin was a natural philosopher. The natural philosophers became the scientists. You go from philosophy to natural philosopher to a scientist in order, coming from Africa. It said the scientific method soon played a greater role, okay, in the knowledge and creation in its history until the 19th century. All right. So there we go. We got science, right? We got the scientific method. Watch this. The history of the scientific method. On. Right here. Watch this. Can you see it, Doc, or did it come off the screen?
It came off the screen. Go ahead and share your screen again.
Real quick. I want to keep the thing moving fast. I don't want to bog everybody down. Too much reading bog us down. I don't want to bog. I want to keep it popping. I'm just gonna come right here. I'm gonna click this button right here. Yo, that's an ancient African papyrus right there. There's no getting around this. Edward Smith papyrus. They call it the Edward Smith medical papyrus, the ancient Egyptian medical text. There you go. All right. Here you go right here. Some of the most important, hold on, wait. Here you go. A few explicit discussions of the scientific method is surveying records from the early cultures. The most that can be inferred about the approaches to the undertaking science in this period stems from what? Descriptions of early investigations into nature. In the surviving record and an Egyptian medical text, the Edwin Smith Papyrus, applies the following components, explanations, diagnosis, treatment, and prognosis to the treatment of disease, which displays strong parallel to the basic imperial method of science, and according to G.E.R. Lord, played a significant role in the development of this methodology.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And you know, Sheikh Anti-Job talked about in the Civilization of Barbarism. He broke it down. He broke it down, and I think it was the chapter entitled African Contributions to Science. Brother Sean P dropped that in the chat. I think that is the chapter in Civilization of Barbarism. Is a chapter called African Contributions to Science, and he did a wonderful job. Job did a wonderful job breaking that down. So, like you said, the origins of STEM start with us. It begins with us. So, brother Og, why do you think a lot of us don't go into those fields? Do you think it's ignorance? Do you think it's fear? Do you think it's a combination of both? I mean, what do you think it is?
I think it's a lack of doing what we do. Kofi Pasi Research Team, Mossy Clan Warriors, Anime Productions, Pseudo Killers, Amara Squad. It's a lack of that. Okay, so we probably can't even talk about just the level of work that you're putting in and how you affect African children. Like there's a level there that you're putting forth, right? They're not reading the history of science and technology in Africa. They're not doing that. Astronomy, right? Okay, we rather talk about I'm a Pisces and I'm in the age of Aquarius. We rather do that game. Okay, that's that pseudoscience. I want to bring this to you right here. We're just not familiar. There are things we are afraid of. You can go to the Science with Sean channel, right? And he gives you a detailed breakdown of different African nations that practice inoculation. But we come to West Africa. They say the knowledge of inoculating oneself against smallpox seems to have been known to West Africans, more specifically a can. It says a slave named Onesimus, an enslaved person named Onesimus. See how they said a slave? He wasn't a slave. He was enslaved. Named Onesimus explained the inoculation procedure to Cotton Mather during the 18th century. He reported to have gotten the knowledge from Africa. And then they got a source right there. Boop. All right. So this is what's going on, Doc. Black people are afraid of being vaccinated based off it's the white man's science. It's not the white man's science. Mm-hmm. It's an age-old African practice. You know what I'm saying? It's an age-old African practice. So I don't want to hear about the herbs and the spices. I don't want to hear about the chicken noodle soup, because the Nile Valley Africans were masters of herbs. The West Africans were masters of herbs. They had mastered it so much so that it was part of their cultural view. Their cultural container of ideas and concepts was based around what they call medicine. So if your whole culture is dedicated to herbs and your religion is medicine and you deify certain aspects of it, right? And you stop trying to use herbs in that process of trying to get away, stop these spirits, because they didn't have electron microscopes. They couldn't see it. Nanometers. They couldn't see it. They didn't know what it was. So they said you had a bad spirit. And when they realized that the herbs and spices and the fruits and vegetables wasn't stopping that bad spirit, and that bad spirit was being passed on, they say, wait a minute, let me, okay. Kulawa is sick. He got some pus on him. Let me take some of that. Let me put this on this person. Let's see. That person that they put it on fell sick. But it didn't fall sick for 2 weeks. They fell sick for like a week, and being exposed didn't decimate them, and they pop back up a week later, and then they realized that person wasn't getting sick anymore. Ha-ha! It must be something to do with what we put on them, right? That sickness. Now we figured it out. This is the first time you fight the pathogen with the pathogen, because the pathogen actually causes an immune response. It creates antibodies. Okay? T cells, killer B cells. It produces, this is something food and herbs can't do.
Mm-hmm,
I don't want
mm-hmm.
to get all off into that, but I'm just saying, if our babies understood this, then they could take a good, hard, informed look at what's going on now with the mRNA vaccines. Okay, Brother Sean just sent me something yesterday, and it was simply talking about how even if you got coronavirus, based off the level of your sickness, your antibodies are weighing. So if you want a person that had like a light symptom, like cold, but you test positive coronavirus, you stand a greater risk of getting it again for real, right? Because you have not built up a great immunity. And so the sicker you get, okay, you'll have a greater immunity. Who the hell want to be close to death to have great immunity against coronavirus?
And I want to highlight D. Anthony. D. Anthony, I think that it's a lack of knowledge, but in a lot of, because like I said, I have boots on the ground. I'm in the area. There's a fear there, and there's a fear that we can't compete. It is. It's a as Brother Ankh stated earlier, it's a subconscious inferiority complex. A lot of our young ones, they don't have that. They have that fear of going in. I've even heard students talk about how they felt some type of way when they would go into, internships at different companies, and they would be in a room and they're the only, Black person in the room. They would talk about the discomfort and all of this. I mean, so it's definitely a fear there. It's definitely a fear there. So I think that it's lack of knowledge, yes, D. Anthony, but there's also a fear, in my opinion. Okay. And this is just based on my interactions with the young folks on the university level.
So can you read Mr. University with Goa University, GAIA? Put that up there real quick.
Yeah, but hold on. Okay, I don't want to get into a whole debate. I'll put it up there, but I'm not even. We're not feeding people like that. But hold on one second. D. Anthony said the fear stems from childhood. Yes, in the education system, I agree 200% with you, D. Anthony. 200% with you, and that's why it's imperative that we educate our babies. We got to educate our babies. All right, and so let me go ahead and put GA University's comment up here, but I want to take some time out to salute Brother Sincere Love the God. He's in the building. Salute to you, Brother Sincere Love the God. I love your album, The Fear and the Shield. I told you my favorite song on there is your song, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. That's my favorite song, and I've been bumping it for the past month. But peace to you, Brother Sincere Love the God. All right, GA University says, I was agreeing with your premise, of your argument until you co-signed the vaccination. You obviously do not understand the human body. All right. And then Brother Sean P., he says, if you don't agree with the vaccine part, you're handicapped. But you can go ahead and address them, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time.
No. I wanted to cut it off at the you obviously don't understand the human body. That's hogwash. I want to deal with the fear part of the statement. Because we're talking about fear, right? This is fear right here. If you co-sign the vaccines, so you're basically saying that you are afraid that white people will give you something that will kill you. That's the fear part. That's what we talking about. You live in fear. Like, we ain't smart enough to know that, hey, 10,000 white people just died. We ain't taking that. The rich white people are jumping in line to get that, and all the rich white people died. We ain't taking that. You know what I'm saying? Like the Black scientists, you know what I'm saying, that was the lead scientist on the mRNA Moderna vaccine. Like, we ain't smart enough to see that. Hey, man, we can't determine that. See, so basically, we're crippled people who can't make informed decisions. See, that's the fear, Doc. It ain't about the quote unquote don't understand the body. No. See, the conversation is about fear. You are in fear because the whole anti-vax movement is white people.
Yes, that's a fact. And who's the head? What's his name? Robert Kennedy.
Robert F. Kennedy
Jr. He is leading the anti.
The money, right? It was your slides that you put together for me that defeated them quacks. Big up to Dr. Oyama with the crystal clear data, okay? That armed me dangerous when I went into there amongst a bunch of crazy, rabid white people. Let me slow down. At the debate, it was 500 crazy, rabid white people. To this point, I had no idea that Europeans could act that ridiculous.
Oh, they were. Oh, I
That's why I
saw
no
it.
longer say that, white people act, black people act. No, black people don't act like that. Black people get real respectful. They was the most disrespectful, out of order group. Let me just say the group of white people I've ever seen in my life. Out of order. Man, trying to tell me how I supposed to react to white people. Well, why are you gonna let the white people get you? Wait, what? See, since we have no fear, okay, of other people's other culture, right? I can process information. So obviously, this guy right here, he's living in fear right now. He actually think they can pull it off, Doc. they can pull it off. No, they can't pull it off. They're not that powerful. The Tuskegee experiment, right, was not a sophisticated act at all. Simply get some black people that suffer.
Don't treat them.
Syphilis,
Yeah, don't treat them.
Don't treat them, and don't tell nobody. Don't even make them sign a paper. That's sophisticated.
It's not sophisticated at all.
But you couldn't pull it off no more. They put law. Talk about how that particular incident in history, okay, actually promoted laws against all of that. Like let's talk about the whole conversation, because now you got me stuck up here scared to death, but you don't talk about the measures put in place to fix that would bring me back down. So yeah, that brother's living in fear. Absolutely. That's the point we're making. Afraid the white people gonna put something in your drink and kill you. Crazy. Why they drink it themselves? Like, that's the fear, Doc.
That's what we talk.
Irvin.
Yeah. And then so in Marabontes, he said he wasn't talking about, okay. So Marabontes, thanks for clearing that up, brother. I thought he said, when we were talking about the Portuguese, and I was explaining how the Portuguese came into the Congo and converted like the royals to Christianity or Catholicism, whatever they were practicing at the time, is all under the same umbrella of Christianity. But anyway, I saw in the comment, brother Marabontes, that you said, well, religion was forced on us. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. You made that comment once I started talking about the Congolese. And so that's what I was talking about. It's definitely evidence of it being, imposed. But in that particular context, no, they presented the religion to the royals, and then the royals turned around and started trying to convert the people. So when they initially came in there, it wasn't a forced conversion from my studies. All right, from my studies. Brother Anthony Smith said, brother Anthony Smith said Western countries brought the whole supply of vaccines. Okay.
There you go. So that they ain't gonna. There you go. You proved the point.
He said that's the real conspiracy.
Right.
Go ahead, Anthony. Anthony Smith said that's the Western countries. Anthony put the nail, Anthony hit the nail. He said that's the real conspiracy. And then you have go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and then you have the West African countries. They're begging for it. You got people saying, I need this vaccine now in other countries. But go ahead, brother Ankh.
Anthony hit the nail on the head. This is what we're not talking about, right? That they could. It's a special name they give the rich. Let's just say the rich companies, the rich countries. Okay, actually brought they could afford to invest in about, I think it was 10. Sean knows the number. It was about 9 different vaccine companies. They bought all that stuff from them before they even went through the trials. Only 3 made it. So if you're a poor country, some of the poor countries in Africa, like Ghana, they can't afford to spend $1 billion on a product that might not even make it to market. So they actually priced out they done. And so they got a little program on the side that where these rich companies put a little bit of money in there and put a little bit of product on the side for them, which is ridiculous, right? But these rich companies bought all the vaccines before they was made because they could afford to do it. Ain't nobody spending a couple $1 billion to fuel y'all crazy conspiracies. You know what I'm saying? White people ain't doing that, yo. They're not gonna spend their money on a conspiracy, bro. They want that product to work. They want to get you back to work.
Hey, look, brother, sincere love to God. He said, Dr. Kazmikia has expressed harsh anti-Black sentiments. Why should we trust her?
Who? That's the sister?
The sister, yeah, the sister. Mm-hmm.
Oh, because I don't know her. Yes, I don't know her. Like Fauci, I don't trust Fauci. I don't even trust the sister. See, I trust the data they produce, though. Because she can be anti-black, and I'm pretty sure somebody done twisted that up a little bit, but she can be whatever she wants to be. But we're saying this is how science works. Science doesn't work off your personal opinion or your personal feelings. You can be a Christian and be a scientist. You can be a Muslim and be a scientist. Okay, you could just hate black people and be a scientist and produce a vaccine, okay, that when tested works out. That's why it's science. So your own political agendas. So if you hate black people, you can't just produce a paper that's killing black people, because it would have to go through the halls of science first.
Yeah, peer review. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, it's not that. It's not the one guy. It's not. If that's the case, based off what y'all saying, we all be dead. If that's the point, that that's why we don't do the one person thing. That's not science. Right? What makes it science? We read the definition of science. Empirical, it says empirical. It says it right here. It says it. It says science, the systematic enterprise that builds and organizes knowledge in a form of testable explanations and predictions. So when she wrote that paper and then she put it in action, it got tested. Like Concrete Coy says, science has a byproduct to it. What is the direct result of what that black lady put together? Let's get off the black. What that woman put together. I like to say black woman because I love black women. What that woman put together. What's the byproduct? Yo, we can all go back to work. That's the byproduct.
Look, and Brother Sutek says scientific literacy is the solution. Brother Sutek, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's bananas that you have a lot of these. There was a post that brother Geechia put up, and he said, what do we need, in the Pan-African community? And I put under, people put all sorts of stuff under there. I said more STEM experts, because I think that it's bananas that we think that we can build a nation and protect that nation without being involved in STEM. I don't know how you're going to do it. When Marcus Garvey went over to Liberia, right, they were going to give him some land to bring some African Americans back, or Africans in the diaspora, bring them back to Liberia. When he went over there, he brought engineers with him. Dr. Amos Wilson talks about that in Blueprint for Black Power. So it's bananas to me that any serious discussion about nation building does not involve STEM. STEM makes the world go round. I remember having at the last lecture I had with oh my goodness, Brother Jabari and them. I think it was 2 lectures ago, and one of the brothers said, "Well, if we rebuild another Tulsa, Oklahoma," and matter of fact, it was Brother Tibolo Toe. Shout out to him. He asked the question. He said, "If we were to build another Tulsa, Oklahoma, how could we protect it?" I said, "STEM." Other people, and I'm not going to mention names, other people say, "Oh, you got to get the cultures." Somebody said we got to get some more guns, and we got to get some this and got to get some that. And I'm looking at them and I said, well, how are you going to communicate? What secure communication systems are you able to build without STEM? What technology can you use to protect yourself, your communications, to armies? What technology? And then this one brother was talking about getting guns. Do we produce and manufacture guns? Do we produce and manufacture the damn bullets? And so the whole thing was bananas to me. The whole thing was bananas to me. And I believe that any serious discussion about nation building has to involve scientific literacy. So thank you so much for that, brother Sutek. Brother, don't be misled, said Dr. Ma'at. Hopefully you can get that rain check on the debate conversation. Brother, I've been trying. I've reached out to his camp, and they literally spent me for weeks. They came up with a bunch of excuses. Oh, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. And, first it was they prolonged it. Something happened and they couldn't do it. Then it came out that they don't want to do it and came up with a bunch of BS excuses as to why they couldn't do it. Peace to you, Brother Ryan Jordan. I know this is my young guy right here, Brother Ankh. He's sharp. Brother Ryan Jordan. I think he's 22. You just celebrated his 22nd birthday, but peace to you, Brother Ryan Jordan. He's one of my young warriors in the building. So peace to him. Brother Sincere Love of God said the population control agenda is not just about eliminating Black people.
Yeah, he gone, yo. We can't. Let me put this right here. This is why we got this. Let me show you this, Doc. Yeah, this is why we had this right here. For that statement right there, we got this. See, look, science literacy is a vaccine against the charlatans of the world that would exploit your ignorance. Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm going to read it one more time because this speaks directly to his statement. Science literacy is a vaccine against the charlatans of the world that would exploit your ignorance. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, why am I saying this fits his statement? Because you would have to understand evolution to even begin to deal with his statement. Okay? You talk about Charles Darwin's second cousin, Galton. He's the start of what they call eugenics. How did he come up with this idea? He misunderstood Charles Darwin's work, right? Charles Darwin vehemently disagreed with Galton. This is the start of eugenics movement. So that statement is coming out of the early works of Charles Darwin and Galton. See, but once you scientifically literate, you understand. You get it. And then you get this. Watch this. This is the part that really gets me, Doc. Look at this. This gets me. This really gets me. This really, 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 really gets me right here. Right here. Let's do this. Let's see. Let's do the right here. Eugenics, right? Killing off the human population. That's basically what we're talking about. Am I right or wrong, Doc?
Oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. I just want to make sure I ain't missing it, right? But this was science literacy to show you. Watch this. Immediately. We'll immediately get all that out of here. I already showed you. I understand. Here you go. You got it right here. So, what are mass extinctions and what causes them? It says in the last 500 million years, life has had a recovery from 5 catastrophic blows. Are humans dealing with the planet's 6th? Yes, it is. But watch this. More than 99% of all organisms that have ever lived on Earth are extinct. As new species evolve and fit ever-changing ecological niches, older species fade away. So without him even knowing it, Doc, right? One, right? He is fed right into the title of the show. He's in fear. Right? He's in fear that white people got a plan to kill everybody. He's not scientifically literate because if he was, he would know that nature does a better job of killing 99% of all living organisms that ever popped up on Earth. White people don't have that power to kill people like that.
Not nature, like you said. You can't go against nature. You can't compete with nature. Can't compete with nature.
They cannot kill you more than nature's already killing you. Everybody watching this show, every oxygen make you old. Breathing oxygen makes you old. Everything on Earth is potentially a toxin. That's why we practice scientific literacy, because we ain't tripping off of what's in the daggone vaccine, because it's always about the amount. If you drink a cup of salt, it will kill you. If you drink too much water, it will kill you. As you breathe oxygen, it kills you slowly but surely. Gravity, as it pushes down on your muscles, kill you. Your heart working, wears down the parts in your heart, will kill you.
Teach on.
10th to the 5th power viruses. We're surrounded by trillions of viruses. Y'all got to check out that new book, What COVID-19 Taught Me.
Look at this. Anthony Smith, he said birth rate are dropping and we have contraceptives. They're not worried about population control.
Listen, man, scientific literacy, mixing it up, man. When Bill Gates talked about having birth control, and they just like it's simple. In the early 1800s in America, they was having people to have 10 babies. Okay, wow. Why would you have 10 babies? Because most of them didn't make it to the age of reproduction. They wasn't giving birth to viable offspring. Scientific literacy, that's why we study evolution. What's a viable offspring? Meaning you make it to the age where you can have sex. And not only have sex, you know what I'm saying, have sex where all your parts is working, where, you know what I'm saying, and you can forge forward a birth that not only the woman has to be able to carry the baby for 10 gestation for 10 months, right? But actually when she give birth, she don't die and the baby die. And even if she die, the baby come out and is healthy. You feel me?
Mm-mm.
So we're gonna have 10 of them, yo, because that's not what's happening. The infectious diseases wiping us out. The germ theory wasn't out, and we wasn't having large amounts of babies. You can go back to the Nile Valley, Egypt. You can go back to the most pure place you think in Africa. Okay, I'm not saying that humans wasn't living to 100 years. I'm saying that the majority of humans wasn't. I'm saying that people was dying at 25 on a regular. That was the age, the average age. Mm. So let's understand what we're saying. We're saying that people live longer based off of understanding germs, based off of medical care, based off of washing your hands, based off of knowing what's in the water before you drink it. Okay? Right now they dying in Africa because I can't even else. Am I saying that right?
Collagen? Is it collagen or what is it?
Nah,
what we're talking about?
With the water, when you drink the water and get sick, is a pathogen. I forget the name of it.
Okay, but it's killing folks in Africa right now.
Right, because they don't have the means to figure it out. Certain places don't know. They just dying from it. I forget the name of it. Goodness gracious. Clean water is a problem in parts of Africa.
Hell, clean water's parts in shoot, look what's going on with Flint. Their water's still jacked up. Pan-African
water is a problem.
look, Pan-African Designs and Apparel said the global cases in Africa is the lowest on the planet. Also, the death rate is less than 2%. Ankh, would you say it's because Africa doesn't have the right testing?
Well, since we have a scientific mind, his first part of his statement about there's a possibility. We don't throw away everything. There's a possibility that maybe continental Africans have certain tweaks in their genes that don't let them fall prey to coronavirus as much. That's a possibility. But since we're not that in America, right, then we ain't gonna rest on that. There's also a possibility that their testing ain't there on par. Like they might not have enough roads. They might not have enough hospitals. They might not have good enough record keeping in certain places. Yeah. That's it. Cholera. Hey, cholera. Thank you, bro.
Look, I'm up here talking about collagen. I said collagen. Thank you, New Blur World Order. And Mansa's on fire. I love Mansa's perspective.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So there's what we're not going to do. We're not going to stand up here and make a blanket statement about Africa that they ain't catching it. Yo, we don't. They're not even bringing in numbers like that. So we're not gonna do that. That's not. We will leave it open that there's a possibility that they're based off of their genetic structure. Okay, that is possible because there are. I want to let y'all know there are humans that don't get affected by coronavirus. There's a few that they I forget the African American guy's name where everybody in his whole house got sick. They're like, why I didn't get sick? And they checked him out. He had some weird changes. But that's called evolution, though. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like you got 10 rats and you give 10 rats rat poison and 8 of them die. Okay, 2 of them is left. 1 to 2 get sick, right? But make it. Then they have babies. You give that same rat poison. Now
hopefully 2 make it, and then those 2 have babies, not the one. But I got you, brother Ankh. He said they died, and then there's 1 left, and they had so the 2 got left, and then they had the babies. I'm just messing with you, brother Ankh. I'm just messing with you.
You got it.
But I had the point. That you're making.
So that's absolutely right. And so that's why we study evolution. That's why we study Charles Darwin, right? You know, we do that, right? That's why we do that, because now we're informed, and just saying they don't got it, that ain't enough. There could be a genetic mutation that makes them less vulnerable to it. Ain't got nothing to do with the fruits and vegetables and herbs at all, because that's out the window because it does not cause an immune response. So you can't say that. It could be a genetic mutation that they got because Africa is the most diverse place on planet Earth when it comes to human beings. That's why. Simple as that. So we don't take that statement and get it. Well, black people can't get it. Remember that black people can't get it in America? Nah. So I wonder what his reasons are for them not catching it, because the scientific community don't know yet. See, that's close to being afraid of white people once again. See, we got to think it all through. So no, I'm not buying that neither.
What about the escapism in our community? You know, aliens are coming to get us, motherships are coming to get us. You know, the astro projecting, all of that sorts of stuff. You know, do you think that's a fear of white folks? Do you think that ties into being fearful of white people? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because all that information is white people. In America, they have the most reported alien sightings on planet Earth. Why? Why? So the aliens only come to America at high levels? All that information is European designed. Europeans put that together because they couldn't handle the fields of STEM. That fear of STEM, that fear of sitting put for 8 years kind of make you scared. We were suffering from an inferiority complex, which was downloaded through the transcontinental kidnapping trade. Fear to go
and perpetuated through perpetuated by the education system. Absolutely. So yeah, it's a lot of escapism in this, you know, the community is the astral projecting and aliens, motherships, planes coming back to get us, Jesus coming to get us out, you know. So I think that also ties into, you know, a fear of white people. So Brother Ankh, I know that we've been on for about an hour. That hour kind of flew. So do you have any closing words for the listening audience, Brother Ankh?
Yeah, I remember listening to a statement that Dr. Whyte are teaching students to work for certain companies to blow up indigenous people.
Oh my God. Now, why would you end with that? Because Brother Ankh, that's a whole conversation in itself, but you're right. Let's talk about that because that's fear too. Oh my God.
That is the epitome of fear.
Yes. So family who's tuned in, and look, everything said, oh boy, it went like this. Family, real quick before we close. Last Sunday, and you all can go back to the discussion. No, it was like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had our book club meeting. We're reading the Myth of Black Buying Power by Dr. Jared Ball, right? And at the end, just go back and listen to like maybe the last 3 or 4 minutes of the discussion. It's the last video that I did. And so I was just talking about how at Morgan, I teach my students that the sky is the limit. I tell them not to go and, you know, not to go, but that sky's the limit. They don't just have to go and work for different companies. They can start their own consultant firm. They can be contractors and get government contractors. Like they're not limited to just graduating with an engineering degree and getting a job. And so when I was expressing that, you know, and talking about that, one of the brothers online said, what did he say, Brother Ankh? I was training children because I teach engineering for a living as my profession. He said that I'm training Black students to build bombs and drop those bombs on indigenous people. I promise you, we're not making this up. So in his mind, he thought that was engineering. He thinks that when he thinks of engineering or electrical engineering, his mind went to bombs being dropped on indigenous people. And I was like, whoa, brother. No, that's not what it is. I said, you know, and then I said, right. Yeah. When he heard the word defense, that's what he thought. He thinks that defense contractors solely create missiles and bombs to drop on people. But like you said, Brother Ankh, that is also a fear. He was speaking from a place of fear, really from a place of ignorance and fear. But go ahead and expound on that, Brother Ankh.
Yeah, so in electrical engineering, man, without that, you don't have NASA. You don't have the communication between the astronauts and none of that. The rockets, you don't got none of that. I mean, you got space satellites that for weather and we know and would think like it's like it doesn't have to be that at all. You know, these defense contracts, they got buildings, large platforms where they need, you know, contractors to install certain things. Like it's the most ridiculous fear. It's crazy. And I hate to say it, but man, they have dirtied down the red, black, and the green. They have made it stupid to deal with the red, black, and the green. That's horrible. Like the organizations are old and played out at this point. Like we need new life into them. I'm the guy that's gonna say it. right? Why is the grassroots organization arguing with me and Sean, right, about some daggone vaccinations? Like that's basic. Like if you're promoting life for African people, then you're promoting vaccines. Like you're not saying don't take it because you don't have another option. When you're talking about the health of our people, then you must have a valuable option. You can't say, yo, don't take that. You got to say, yo, don't take that because I have this, and this has been proven and verified. So the red, black, and the green has become anti-science. Grassroots organization have become anti-science, anti-intellectualism at a all-time high. Man, I'm red, black, and green all day long.
And this, I'm going to say,
green all day long, and they throw bananas at us and fruits and vegetables at us. Like
yes,
we ain't got no sense. You the police? I'm not the police. I'm squat.
They do. Yes,
I'm
they
squat.
do.
Call me squat. Say, brother, don't call me agent, right? Because the agent is sneaking around. I'm squat. I'm not the police because I'm not police you. I'm squat. I come in when you really need help and you done. I come get you for promoting misinformation. So just call me squat. Go, that nigga squat all day long, baby.
And I'm just, and brother Ankh, like you said, is we RBG all day, but you know, but I do agree that something has to give because you know,
my whole company is based off of the red, black, and green. Red, black for the educated black person. Red for the blood fighting to get educated. And green for the land that we can build using scientific ingenuity, baby. Red,
come
black,
on.
and green, yo. Redefine that.
Absolutely. And it's just saddens me because when I think about our predecessors, Marcus Garvey promoted science. And matter of fact, I think I sent it to you. It was a screenshot of one of his speeches where he talked about how we need to cultivate a generation of scientists. Dr. Amos Wilson, you know, he was a huge advocate for STEM, you know, huge advocate of STEM. And so it befuddles me that nowadays this new RBG movement is kind of, they're not pushing STEM. they're not pushing STEM. And so again, and I want to close like this. I want to close with this. Any intelligent conversation or discussion involving nation building must involve STEM. It must involve increasing global Africans, right? Continental African and diasporan Africans. It must involve speaking about how can we increase our participation in STEM. Any serious conversation of nation building. You cannot build a nation and sustain a nation without STEM. You just can't. So, you know, we could talk about culture, and yes, culture is very important. You know, culture is very important. It's very important. Culture, yes. We can talk about culture. We can talk about history, yes. But we need more STEM experts. And so those are my closing words, brother Ankh. What are yours?
Well, STEM has to be part of art. Art is part of STEM.
Yeah, STEAM.
It is STEM. Mm-hmm. Yeah, STEAM. It is cultural. You just didn't understand it. That it was exactly that. All right. My closing words is this: for all those claiming to want to go back to Africa and deny STEM, you'll be over there for a year and a half. Your asses all be dead, and I'm done.
And I do want to touch on that. I just want to show the people something real quick, y'all. Bear with me.
Mosquitoes,
real quick.
Bad water, no medical health, trying to eat fruits and berries to stop the daggone malaria. You're done. Now, I'm not taking a vaccine. Man, they got a vaccine for malaria. I'm not doing that. The white man gonna kill me. Y'all ain't gonna make it for a year and a half. No bulldozers, no electricity. You be like the Flintstones out there, yo. You be in the Stone Age. You're not gonna make it. Nope.
Look, hold up. I want to show you this in our literature review in the paper that we just submitted. We talk about how STEM is cultural. So let me go to the literature review really quickly. Feelings of inferiority, Afrocentric superiority. Here we go. Let me show the people this really quickly. And then brother Ankh, we'll have I think we should do a part 2 where we come back. He done stepped off. Let me share my screen really quickly. All right, hold on. Where is it? Boom. So this is when he said STEM is cultural. We argued that. All right. So we talked about African-centered Education, and we are publishing this paper. So it says an African-centered or Afrocentric pedagogy for STEM requires knowledge of African STEM anteriority. Conventional STEM teaching omits the contributions of African people, continental and diasporan, from text and common discourse. As a result, African people are imbued with feelings of inferiority. There is evidence that feelings of inferiority and white superiority persist until African people are taught about African contributions to technology while simultaneously being exposed to technology. Okay. So it says an Afrocentric pedagogy also acknowledges and conveys the connection between technology and culture. So, Brother Ankh, you're 100%. 100% correct when you say that STEM is culture. There's a connection there. It says when technology is developed, its application occurs within a cultural context. Hence, technology transmits culture. STEM is often thought of as being culturally neutral. However, African-centered educators argue that the very origins of STEM is cultural and rooted in African history and philosophy. So I just wanted to share that piece with you. I just wanted to share that piece.
Doc, we had to do a vaccine show. You got a lot of ignorant people. When I say ignorant, simply meaning not know. You got a lot of misinformed people with disinformation in the chat room, man. And they love you though, Doc. They actually love you.
I love them to death. I love everybody in the chat. I mean, whether you agree with me, agree with us, don't agree, I love everybody in the chat. So shout out to, I see a beautiful.
I don't.
I love all of my brothers and sisters in the chat. Because you just mean. You mean, but well, you're not mean. You're a really pretty nice guy. But I'm just saying,
but I don't know.
Like, no, I love
I don't like the pushing of ignorance that could potentially get a person killed. Like, for instance, like Kyrie Irving, like, all this is my right. Wait a minute, yo, it's a public health issue. You don't have a right to get everybody else sick, carry your pathogens around, go to your grandmother's house and kill her. Like, since when did you ever have that right? It's not a private decision.
So say this. You love the people, but you don't like, or you dislike, or you hate the misinformation and disinformation. That's what it is, because you love your people, Ankh. I wouldn't say that you don't. You love your people.
No, I don't love all people. Some people don't mean me no good.
Or those folks. Like, I'm talking about our people that are here, Brother Ankh. They keep trying to listen.
Hold on. It's been here for a year and a half and seeing the life expectancy of Black people.
I'm talking about my chat room, Brother Ankh. My chat room.
I love your chat room.
I'm talking about my chat room.
I love your chat room.
So why are you fooling with you? He's talking about the people that been here, But I love my chat room. I see Sister Judy Jones in the
saying, like, they just need they need to be able to call in. Watch this. One day we just let them call in, no arguing, post because they said some like the guy said.
If some beautiful questions,
different signs.
Some good questions.
Yeah, different. They said a different signs. There's no different signs. There's no different vaccine. You know what I'm saying? Like, transportation at the end of the day is transportation. Okay, no, a car ain't a train, but it's still transportation. You feel me? But when we deal with vaccines, they use different platforms, but they're safer now. They've gotten better at it because they know diseases evolve, viruses evolve. Okay, so you got to have something that can be changed at the drop of a dime now. So those different variants came up, right? So they had to put the different clicks in it. Someone talked about the quote unquote the flu vaccines. Well, the flu vaccines weren't made with evolution in mind. Right now they're getting better at it. They're going to have these different variants within that. They're going to determine what variant it could be, and we can make a vaccine already ready for that. So it's just questions that we just need to have the good, intelligent, non-combatant conversations like people do all day. So now I really do love them. So I think all y'all questions are valuable. Sean wrote a book, What COVID-19 Taught Me.
Yes, I need to grab that. I need to grab that book.
Tune in 8:30 tomorrow. We're going to go through the book. It's going to be we're going to release the book, right? Shout out to Sean.
Yes,
right?
Congratulations, brother Sean P.
Yeah, no, Sean is not an expert. He's a science advocate. He advocates the experts.
And let me say this. He never ever said that he was. No, you know how so some people when they attack brother Sean P, oh, you trying to act like you an expert. He never said that he was. He just said this is, and I love the title of the book. This is what I learned. Right. So he's not acting like he's a a medical doctor presenting this information to you. He's just saying these are some of the things that that I learned, from
That's it.
from COVID,
Yeah,
and
you
so
the only expert. You the only expert right here,
look,
said Phil.
I'm not a what is it called, a virologist or
A
something, virologist.
virologist.
Yeah, I'm like, what is it? I'm not one of those people.
Virologist. You're not that. You're not an expert
Biologist.
in this field.
I'm not expert in that field. Now you
Correct.
bring me into
Correct.
electrical engineering and signal
You're an
processing and
expert.
cybersecurity. I'm an expert, but
You're an expert.
in that field, no, I'm not a medical doctor. But I do shout out to brother Sean P. I'm super proud of him. He's been writing for years. He's been
Facts.
writing for years, and I remember when he was first working with Sister Naya. Remember, and he was working with what was her
Voices of
platform
Fire.
called?
Voices
Voices
of
of
Fire.
Fire. And he was publishing, remember, he was publishing articles. And so I've
Yeah.
watched his brother publish articles to now publishing books. And so, again, shout out to you, brother Sean P. Congratulations. I'm definitely going to be copying. Um, thank you so much, Sister Tamika. I'm definitely going to be getting your book and supporting your book. All right. All right, so I think you're right, brother. We need to do a show where we allow
Yeah.
people to call in,
Yeah.
and so I
Voices.
think that's a really good. I think that would be a really good idea.
Yeah. No cutting off. None of that. Real professional, because y'all got to respect this platform. This is a very, very organized professional platform. Dr. Mayat is a legitimate doctor in Sedfield. She's a professor at Morgan State University, and that's my people's. And so the platform has to be respected. So I would love to have just general conversation on it. Like, what's your fears? Let's talk about it. And whenever I get the one-on-ones, Doc, it gets straight, because you realize that what you thought you knew, you really didn't know. Like come on, Doc, those first slides, like, watch this, Doc. Those slides you made for me, you had no idea how valuable and ahead of the times those slides would be.
Mm.
Little did we know that as we crept in that building, first in Baltimore, Maryland, in the church, right? Shout out to brother, how you say his name? Brother, damn it, yo.
Who?
With the vaccine, with my man. He think I don't like him.
Brother Keedy, Baba Keedy.
Shout out to Baba Keedy.
Baba Keedy, yeah.
Shout out to him, man, and all the work he put in for food, right? But I'll say it again, when it comes to science, man, he messed it all up. But that's okay. But little did we know that when we was in that building, that the virus was with us then, Doc. That was Friday. That was Saturday. The coronavirus was here. We didn't know it. Little did I know when I took them slides into New York,
the virus was already here. Yep. Because you did that in December, and they announced they started shutting things down in March.
No, they was
it March? Was it March?
It's COVID-19. It's called COVID-19.
Yeah. No, I'm saying March. I'm saying
December, January. It was already here.
Yeah, it was already here, but they started shutting things down 3 months later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they started trying to, because they didn't know what the hell it was. But I told them it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when another pathogen would come. Little did we know that the education that we was giving the people a year prior to that would be so instrumental right now. So if you've been following the platforms, Dr. Oyamayat, Pseudo Killers, Master Clan Warriors, Amaral Squad, Kofi Pasa Research Team, if you've been following those platforms, you was already educated, right? You was already educated on what a vaccine was and what it was. You wouldn't be having these questions, right? If you've been following us for the last 8 to 9 years, you'd be up on evolution. We've had these intelligent conversations. If you brought into the anime series, animated lessons, you already educated in the process of what science was and what it wasn't. You would already be ready for this thing that came out of nowhere and got us all spooked out. We was ahead of the time, and I'm gonna toot my own goddamn horn, and I'm gonna toot your horn, and I'm gonna toot everybody's horn who's been dedicated to scientific literacy, man. And that's for the love of our people, that we took the blows. When people saying, what in the hell is this nigga talking about? Vaccines? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So in that new book that's coming out, right? I write that forward, and I talked about my experience of being an anti-vaccine person. Okay, so we're not thinking we're better. We don't think that. We've been through the same things you've been through. That's my point. Like, I'm y'all. I don't have those degrees. I had to learn it on my own. Had to go through the good. So I'm not looking down on you. I'm simply saying that we're misreading the situation, and we cannot close the educational gap in enough time to save our people. I cannot be an electrical engineer by next month and challenge Dr. Oyamayat on said subject. She gonna beat the living brakes off of me. I can't. So if our lives depended on electrical engineering, which it does, because if the water treatment plant stop working, if the cyberspace get attacked, you might be dead. But anyway, I'm
Hold up, but
saying
Ark, you always get me started. You always, because you remember, brother Ark, remember someone put out in the community, and that's when I was like, wow, I was blown away when that young man, that young gentleman, told the community. He said, Dr. Oyamaat is an electrical engineer. First of all, he said I had a certificate. That's what he said. He said I had a certificate. He said I had I had a certificate, in electrical engineering. And I was like, no, it's not a okay. And then after that, he said, the only thing she could do is cut on lights. So in his mind, he thought of like the BG&E person who comes into your house and fix your electrical problems, which is a technician. And I love technicians. Shout out to we had one of the best technicians at Morgan State University, Mr. Andre Lewis. And we need our technicians because the technicians, we build and design, we design things, right, as engineers, and we give it to a technician to build it and to tell us whether it can work or not work. I mean, that's just the way the design process goes. And so I would never, ever minimize the role of a technician. However, I'm not that, right? I'm not a technician.
No, you're at this end.
I'm at
technology.
Yeah, this where I'm at. And then the technician tells me whether it works or it doesn't. If it doesn't work, we go back to the drawing board and we keep going until we can, we get something working, we get a working prototype, and then we go and send that and get that, manufactured. But so this gentleman said that he thought, electrical engineers cut on lights. And I talked behind doors. I was very upset. And I remember telling the Morgan State students that they just laughed at him because engineering is, when you think about it, it's just solving problems using science and math. That's what we do. We're problem solvers. We use science and math to solve problems. That is engineering. And specifically electrical engineering, we focus on different areas. So when people think of electrical engineering, they think it's just electricity. Oh, it's not just electricity. You got, materials and devices. You have signal processing. You have cybersecurity. You have speech-to-text algorithms. You have voice recognition. So a lot of these like Alexa and all of that, that is all under the umbrella of electrical engineering. You wouldn't have Alexas without electrical engineering. A lot of money in that field. Hell, we wouldn't be on this internet if it wasn't for electrical engineers. There would not be a microphone, or speakers, the computer, your cell phone. If you open up your cell phone, it's a circuit in here, brother Ankh. It's a circuit in here that was built by an electrical engineer. So it just like I said, it befuddles me that, when I got in this community, that people did not know, what engineering was, and listen to this gentleman who was very, very ignorant.
Fact. Yeah, well, I ain't gonna say nothing else because I keep running this on.
You know what? I ain't fooling with you, brother Ankh.
No, I appreciate this moment here. We always had these great conversations, man. We don't always agree on conversations.
We don't.
You got to fight debate on what?
Oh, we got a debate coming up. Let the people know you and I have a debate coming up. You said, because I went to a Race First rally. And I was all pumped up. I had my red, black, and green on. My family, we all out there. And you said, Dr. Ma'at, if you're practicing race first, you're practicing racism and white supremacy. That's what you told me. And I said, no, brother Ankh, no, it's not. I understand the perspective that you're coming from. But I hope when we debate that you understand the perspective that I'm coming from. Is it practicing racism, white supremacy, or is it adapting to your environment and watching how all these other groups of people are moving in your environment and saying, well, wait a minute, maybe I need to put the needs of my people, the needs and the interests of my people first. I'm just saying, is it adapting or is it, but anyway, we can have that debate, brother Ankh, and I'm looking forward to our debate.
Bet.
All right, family, we out of here. Peace and Black Power.
Man. Hey, Black African power.
Black African